High class of 2022 students and parents, particularly applicants to UC Berkeley. I wasn't going to say anything about this. I don't like raising the stress level, although if Berkeley is one of your top schools and you really aggressively, passionately feel you need to attend, um, then maybe this story will concern you a bit because I think UC's having some admissions dilemmas uh, due to not having the SAT as criteria for admission and having so many students applying there that have super high grades. And if you're in that category, this headline is of interest to you. And you probably got a letter from them too, because I've received six uh, forwarded emails and two texts about it, uh, even from some who weren't applying to Berkeley. I don't know. Maybe they thought they were letting me know. I've known about this legal conundrum of being dilemma of UC Berkeley, being they were the residents of Berkeley who are extremely woke. I mean, the campus itself is woke, but extremely woke about, in this case, environmental impact matters. And we're concerned about the expansion of Berkeley to have more students that was announced a year and a half ago and have filed injunctions to stop the expansion. And they were successful. And I think it got all the way up to the appeals courts in California, and the judge ruled in favor of the city of Berkeley. The judges here are also extremely woke, meaning that environment over everything. Sometimes it's racial wokeness. This time it's environment. And for a long time, Cal Berkeley has been known as a campus that's extremely interested in that. And to me, it was humorous for those of us who understand, who are really worried about these campuses that are getting extremely woke, and meaning in this case, environment over everything. And this makes it even tighter for students to get into Berkeley. If you're going to cut 3,000 spots out, you might say, well, how many spots do we have? Let's look at this article. It's in the LA Times. Maybe I will post this to YouTube, or maybe when I email, I'll send you the link to the article. I'm not going to post it on YouTube. Um, UC Berkeley, one of the nation's most highly sought after campuses, may be forced to slash its incoming fall 2022 class by 1/3 and forego a $57 million in lost tuition under a recent court order to freeze enrollment announced on Monday. I'm like, how long have they known this? They didn't let kids know when they were recruiting, did they? I knew the story was out there. They knew it was out there. And I know when us kids would put Berkeley down, all I did was make sure they knew their chances of getting in were going to be really tough this year. They was brutal last year. But why didn't they say this before? I think they're saying this now to cover themselves, since they were going to have a tough time deciding who gets in anyway. It gives them another thing to claim as a problem. I'm like, now they're running to court. You'll see universities projected tuition reduction and freshman and transfer students came in response to a ruling by Alameda County Superior Court judge who ordered an enrollment freeze and upheld a Berkeley neighborhood group's lawsuit. Notice in this paragraph, they don't say when it was. And I think that's a little bit of bias by the Times in a sense. But they should have told you it was back in March. The University of California Board of Regents appealed the hearing and asked them to order to freeze the enrollment be stayed, meaning they could bring in these students, while the appellate process proceeded. Last week, an appellate court denied that request. So that's what happened last week, but they knew it was possible. The Regents on Monday appealed that judgment to the California Supreme Court, but I don't think the Supreme Court's going to hear it that fast. So there's going to be an impact. Maybe they'll hear it before the decisions. Decisions will be in 1 month. The court mandated decrease in enrollment will be a tragic outcome to thousands of students who've worked hard to get admission to Berkeley. I always have trouble with that. All these students that work hard can go to another school. UC Berkeley is not the best college in the world. I don't think anybody can say they are really. How do you know that? any of you, this is a good chance for me, parents, any of you students, any of your students, or you who feel that Berkeley is the best college in the world and the only college that can help your student, you need to calibrate that about any school right now. It just adds a lot of stress to your child and students, to yourselves. If you get to that point and you start getting your rejection letters, you won't have a clear mind to decide. You've got to have a clear and resilient mind right now. I need everybody like that to control this incredible stress that will occur from the assumption that a college determines your importance or chance of succeeding. It is not true. If left intact, the court's unprecedented decision would have a devastating impact of blah, blah, blah. Okay. Campus said the loss of 57 million could squeeze campus operations and limit course offerings. Keep in mind that the budget of Berkeley is something, I think it's something like, $300 million. But if you have fewer students, you're going to spend less money. So I don't know, maybe it is bad to lose the revenue, but how it will hurt existing students, I'm not sure. Because remember, they got a big influx of capital from the federal government recently because of COVID. Phil Buckelboy, president of Save Berkeley, which filed the lawsuit, blamed the crisis on the university, saying the campus has failed to build enough housing to accommodate its students. And that's true. He added that UC Berkeley could manage the court-ordered enrollment freeze without hurting California students by reducing admissions offers to international and out-of-state students. That's going to be hard because those are students that give them cash. It's irresponsible for Berkeley to add students in the midst of a terrible housing crisis. Whoa, and you remember all this, the homeless crisis and all that? Ay, 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 ay. This is all within the progressive left. They're battling each other over this. And I have to say, there's a little bit of humor in this in a way. Berkeley saw it coming. Now, what does this mean to my students? And some of you all who would normally have gotten in are not getting in. That's what it means. But that was always true with Berkeley. It's a hard school to get into. And I say it's not the end of the world. Look at the things going on with the neighborhood all around you if you get admitted. The fear underscores the conflicting and growing pressure on UC over enrollment. And why are they over enrolled? Listen to this: legislators, families, and equity advocates are pushing campuses to increase seats for California students, particularly Black and brown students. I changed that, so particularly those who are so underrepresented. So you got these people in the state and these lobby groups that are pushing for more Black and brown students, and the community around Berkeley is saying, no, you have too many students. And the judge ruled in their favor. That's why these groups that push for more seats in the school, it's just not probably a great overall strategy. The better overall strategy is start pushing for better programs to get students prepared for college rather than try to work on the fringes on equity, meaning you got to admit more on the other side. Many policymakers say the state's economic future is at stake as California is facing a shortage of 1.1 million workers. They say that. But you got private schools, you got Cal State universities, you got a lot of other schools in the state than UC Berkeley and UCLA and those other 6 UCs. But that's kind of the way I see it. Meanwhile, the demand for UC seats continue to rise as more California high school students meet the requirements, such as the elimination of the SAT scores. So there's a lot more students that weren't going to get in anyway. And there we go. Although UC admitted 132,353 freshmen, an 11% increase, more than 71,000 were denied admission, including 40-some thousand Californians. The admission rates fell. Notice it's way more California. It's only 38,000, 28,000. There were 28,000 out of state, only 41,000. That's interesting. Admission rates fell at 7 of 9 undergraduate campuses, dropping at UCLA 9.9% for California applicants in the future. So you need to look at the rest of the article But the answer to your questions you seem to be asking doesn't mean it's going to be harder to get into. I say yes. It was already hard. It's going to be harder. And I'm not really going to cry over this. It's just a big old research school. Anyhow, and your son or daughter will not be impacted if they don't get in. They get in, as far as you're concerned, hallelujah. But try not to let this concern you. And yes, it does mean your chances are going to be reduced from Cal Berkeley. I think it's true for UCLA too. They just don't have the neighborhood things going on. Although I don't know, I haven't checked into what the Westwood residents think about the expansions of population at UCLA. It's kind of funny that a neighborhood's resisting expansion because I guess they think they'll need more housing. I hadn't even considered that part of it, but I knew there was resistance to expansion. All right, thank you very much. Sorry this video went a little long. God bless you. Please keep out your email for future details and things that are occurring like this. And I think you'll be ever so happy. God bless you. Bye-bye now.